Elemental heroes are one of the most extensive and iconic archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! In the anime, they were used by the protagonist of Yugioh GX, Judai or Jaden Yuki, where they pulled him out of many predicaments because the duels were scripted, but hey, they were marketable. And in real life, they're involved with the hero archetype as a whole for big boards and even bigger combos, and plenty of support since big anime archetypes get that. And with the sheer number of monsters in the elemental hero archetype alone, there are plenty of cool effects, but also plenty of stinkers in there, especially from the GX era, which makes them prime for ranking in multiple lists of 10. However, there's a greater reason we're covering this. Back in my weird alt art video, during the elemental hero alt art segment, my rambunctious co-host Judgment Meter shamefully spoke ill of how much the elemental heroes annoyed her, much to my dismay, so she said this.
Neos is stupid. Okay, I may have to rank them. Are there at least 10?
Yes, elemental hero is like the biggest archetype in the game.
If you want me to rate the best and or worst elemental heroes, like and subscribe and leave a comment. And if you don't, well, most of them suck anyways.
And then my comment section was incredibly supportive of us doing this. So here's what we'll do. We'll look at the worst elemental heroes based on effect and utility for this video, and then we'll reconvene at a later date for the best elemental heroes. And to make sure we still have Judgment Meter see every elemental hero, I'll make some entries a multi-way tie if they serve a similar purpose, like all the Neo's contact fusions will be a single entry. And as you'd expect, joining me in this video is the co-host that pitched this idea, Judgment Meter.
I made a thing happen, and I didn't even know it. I'm Judgment Meter, an elemental hero Clayman's head looks like a pimple.
Now let's put in danger the top 10 worst elemental heroes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Number 10, elemental hero Woodsman. This one isn't too bad for when it came out in 2008 when the pace of the game was slower, and it was a big monster in Jaden's manga deck. However, Woodsman had no effect in the manga. It was just a different flavor of Clayman where it had 2000 defense and could be used for some fusions, that was it. So when printed in real life, they gave Woodsman an effect. He let you add polymerization to your hand from the deck or graveyard during the standby phase. This is conceptually a cool effect since heroes love to fuse, so vanilla polymerization was helpful to their older combos. But the standby phase means you basically have to wait a full turn to get it, unless you have some shenanigans to get him out during the draw phase or standby phase, but usually you're summoning him in the main phase. I don't know, maybe he can survive a turn to make it work, and if you used polymerization during your last turn, then he can get it back from the graveyard if you're out of copies in your deck, or you don't want to deck then for some reason. But even in 2008, there were better ways to search polymerization immediately, like Fusion Sage or the go-to King of the Swamp. So the only reason I would see playing him is if you want even more poly searches, and more importantly, he was an Earth hero for their fusions with a more limited pool of heroes to use at the time.
Oh, he's like the Thing. Is that? No, he's like Swamp Thing. Aww. I like him. He may seem angry, but he just doesn't want you to pollute and put crap in the forest. But he's really a nice guy.
Do you like his wood hand?
I do like his wood hand.
Do you like his pose where he's ascending into the sunlight?
He loves sunlight. Photosynthesis is good for him.
In the manga, since he was effectless, his only purpose was to really be fused with another hero, elemental hero Ocean, who was not only useful in the manga, but had a cool effect in real life that was parallel to his partner Woodsman.
Is he a dolphin?
Sure, why not?
He's like Aquaman. Don't pee in his ocean. He'll get mad. He protects all the tunas.
In the manga, Ocean could attack directly when the water field Umi was active, and in real life, during the standby phase, you could return a hero on the field or in your graveyard to your hand. That's a great effect since it can recycle heroes from the graveyard, or if you have a hero like Stratos on the field who searches a hero when he's summoned, you can bounce him and summon him again for another search. As with Woodsman, waiting for the standby phase is kinda slow, but it's a much more versatile effect to me. And while we're here, let's bring up their specific fusion together, elemental hero Terra Firma. He's got a solid effect, where he can tribute an elemental hero and gain its attack until the end of the turn. Not the most prolific effect, but it's cool for 2008. Kinda hard to summon him since both materials needed are specific monsters, but heroes gained a lot of ways to to fusion summon monsters from the deck or graveyard, so it is easier than other specific fusions, and the art is pretty cool.
He looks like that card with the puppet with the feet.
Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder?
Yeah, the really big one.
Huh, well I'll be damned, you got a point. So Woodsman, not the best, but not the worst either. They gave him a good enough effect. Can't really say that for some of the later heroes on this list. Number 9, Elemental Hero Heat. Honestly, this effect is alright, and not the reason it's here. He gains 200 attack per elemental hero you control, so counting himself, the 4 other main monster zones, and why not the extra monster zone too, that's a 1200 attack point boost. He can get to 2800 attack. I like that. However, I always found it weird that he's one of the few elemental heroes that's not a warrior type. He's a pyro. Luckily, most of the hero support just works with heroes and not warriors, so he does still benefit from the archetype-based effects. However, he does lose out on the general warrior support a hero deck might play, like Reinforcement of the Army. Still, it's not the worst thing for when it came out in 2008.
He's like ketchup and mustard. Is he Neos?
No, Neos is Neos. This is a different guy.
I like the knee action.
Oh, well, if you like him, then be even more impressed with his counterpart, Lady Heat.
There's Lady Heat? Wow. Oh, I like her. She's cool.
Contender for a new favorite?
Yeah, she looks like she's from an anime. Screw that other guy. I like how she has like one up, one down legging and a little ballet slipper and the hair. Wow, she's cool. And she's doing a little pose. Did she get more cards?
No.
I'm sad. Does he get more cards?
Also no.
Oh, okay.
Her effect is adjacent to Heat, where instead of gaining attack per hero, she inflicts 200 burn damage per elemental hero you control during your end phase. Situational, sure, but I could see this being on par with Heat for slower games with big boards. However, these heroes are fine to me. The real stinker about them is their fusion, Elemental Hero Inferno. When they combine, their effect is now, if it battles a water monster specifically, it gains 1000 attack during the damage step only. It has 2300 attack to start, so if you're lucky and your opponent plays a water deck, sure, 3300 attack is nice. But if not, yeah, Heat on his own could surpass 2300 if you have 3 other elemental heroes. The only thing I like about this fusion is the theming. Him being good against water means he's so hot, his flame cannot be extinguished. Though if the fire is too hot for water, couldn't it be too hot against everything else too? If it burns water, it might as well burn light, darkness, earth, maybe not wind. But the point is, this effect could be used against a lot more.
They fuse into a Gundam. Wow, look at those charcoal finger sticks. They're like hockey gloves. Look, he has a molten belly. That's where the fire is made.
Any closing thoughts?
Lady Heat's awesome. Top 5.
Number 8, Elemental Hero Voltic. Part of me wanted to exclude Voltic from this list since its effect is kinda cool, but not gonna lie, of all the elemental heroes, I think he's the most forgettable one to me, so I wanted to put him here solely for that reason. I have no idea why, but I can remember every other elemental hero in some capacity, but I forgot about him until we had to prepare for this list. And there's ones that are way worse than him, but because those ones are way worse than him, I remember them because they're so bad. He's just kinda In the manga, his effect was, when he inflicts battle damage, all cards in both banish piles get put back into their graveyards, which is a unique effect. I'm not sure how much that hurts or benefits your opponent outside of a scripted manga duel, but it's neat for your own strategy that banishes, like how heroes banish from the graveyard to fuse with Miracle Fusion and such. When printed though, they just kind of gave him an adjacent effect. It still requires battle and uses the banishment, it's just a different effect now. When it inflicts battle damage, you can target a banished elemental hero and special summon it. Cool, I guess? I do like how it could potentially get back a big monster to also swing in during that same battle phase, and it still benefits the hero decks that like to banish, but like, he only has 1000 attack points. I guess the idea is to get your bigger heroes to hit over your opponent's monsters, and then Voltic attacks directly to get another monster to attack directly after him. But I feel you could just summon better heroes than Voltic from the start start, so you don't need that extra banished monster. I don't know, maybe I'm being too critical here. Also to note, he's like Heat where he's not a warrior type, but rather a thunder type, which does make sense since he's an electric man, but it adds one more hurdle against the warrior toolbox tools. That being said, at least he looks cool. I like his background, but I also feel a voice deep inside of me telling me to compare his appearance to the beloved Sparkman. No, they can both exist. Leave him alone on that.
Ooh, he's cool. He's probably Sparkman's brother.
While technically I could say that they're completely unrelated, the English dub only did make a joke about there being a Spark woman, so there could be a chance that he's a part of the Sparkman family tree.
I want to see Sparkman's sister.
Significant other. When he was under the Maiden in Love's enchantment, he said something like, "I hope Spark Woman doesn't hear about this."
I want to see Lady Spark.
No, she literally does not exist.
Oh man.
Number 7, Elemental Hero Captain Gold. How did he get that rank? What makes him the captain? I've never seen this guy lead a day in his life. His effect is, you can discard him, and you get to search the field spell Skyscraper, which was the Elemental Hero field that lets them gain 1000 attack points when they attack a monster that has more attack than them. In older decks, it was a cool battle trick, but Skyscraper was quickly outclassed by heroes just getting better support and monsters as the game evolved, so the field spell became useless, and thus Captain Gold did too. Captain Gold is a relic of this style of searching effect, where some archetypes had a monster whose only effect was they discard themselves to search for a specific field spell. These effects eventually became outdated, where now archetype effects just let you search any spell or trap within the archetype, not just the field, or if there is a field spell searcher still, they also have other effects that are worthwhile. A slight benefit to these old field searchers is they usually had at least 1900 attack points, so they could be a solid normal summon in a pinch. Gold had 2100 attack, which was nice. However, that was too strong for a level 4 monster, so he immediately destroys himself if Skyscraper is not on the field. To his credit, that actually is a high attack value for a level 4 monster without restrictions for the time, but still, cut Gold a slight break. Give him a fighting chance to survive when not in the city, though it works thematically since he is standing atop a skyscraper in his art, so without it, I guess he would just fall to his doom.
Why is he at a diagonal?
I don't know, he just likes to dynamically pose.
Why is he so big?
He's not?
Well, if he's standing on a skyscraper, he must be huge.
Well, it's
It's just a tiny skyscraper.
Yeah, that.
Look at him up there, so smug.
Okay, now you're just finding reasons to hate him.
Look at his arms crossed, standing on a skyscraper. It's probably a historical building. What an asshole.
Captain Gold at least lives on in relevancy with his evil counterpart, Evil Hero Adusted Gold, who searches Dark Fusion or a related card for your evil hero plays. But that's a whole other hero strategy, so we'll save that for another time. Also, Adusted Gold doesn't immediately get destroyed when summoned raw, so another point for him. Number 6. Most of the early GX anime Elemental Hero fusions. What I like about the early Elemental Heroes is for the first season of their fusions and a few from the later seasons, they still needed 2 specifically named Elemental Heroes, but there were so many fusions for them, it felt like Jaden had a combination with any 2. As long as he had 2 Elemental Heroes and a polymerization, he had an option in the extra deck. If you look at Jaden's core heroes from Season 1, he had the 5th Hope group, being Avion, Burcinatrix, Sparkman, Clayman, and Bubbleman, covering 5 of the 6 attributes, add in Necroshade for Dark, and then add in Wildheart and Blade Edge 2 for extra Earth. These core 8 had so many combos for fusion. Not every combo of 2 worked, but it was enough to make it feel like they did. However, outside of the first 2 fusions that Jaden used, being Flame Wingman and Thunder Giant, the rest of them were anywhere from highly situational to pretty much useless when they were printed. So let's put all these fusions that use the core 8 heroes in a single entry, since they pretty much fill the same role for me, minus Flame Wingman and Thunder Giant. I like them enough, and they got retrains, so expect them on the good hero list. Anyway, in no specific order, we have Wild Edge, being a fusion of Wildheart and Blade Edge. He can attack all your opponent's monsters, but he has the same attack value as Blade Edge himself, and Blade Edge had piercing, so the only upgrade here is he could attack more but without piercing. It's not a bad effect, I just like piercing better. Also, I like how this design averages out the clothing of the two. Wildheart is mostly naked, Blade Edge is covered in armor, so he gets half the pants, half the arm stuff, a helmet, and no chest coverage.
There are a lot of cards in this archetype. You're like, what else could we do?
Oh well, buckle up then, this is going to be the longest entry. Next, let's do Wild Wingman, another Wildheart fusion, but with Avian this time. His effect is, discard a card, destroy one spell or trap on the field. Just play Mystical Space Typhoon instead, though I do like how you can do it unlimited times per turn, some fun old card design there. And once again, Wildheart being mostly naked takes away about half the clothes on the Avian side of the fusion.
I don't like his crotch. I don't like it. I don't like it. It looks like they just put it on, like they just strapped it on.
Let's go for Rampart Blaster next. It's Persinatrix and Clayman. This card can attack directly, but only while in defense mode, and the damage is halved. I kinda get the restriction since 2500 defense might be a lot for 2005, but I don't know, I feel like I should complain. For the design, I like the bust armor.
I'm really sorry that Persinatrix has to be involved in this.
Okay, but the bust armor is cool at least, right?
No, it's terrible. It's just awful. So bad. So bad.
Next up is a monster that was on our list about weird fusions that actually makes sense, Mudball Man. His effect is, he must be fusion summoned. That's it. He's an effect monster with no effect. His purpose is just that he has 3000 defense, and I guess they were afraid that having that defense value on a fusion monster would be too busted without a little restriction, but the must be fusion summoned clause was on all of these hero fusions, so it's not unique. They just didn't give him anything. And for the design, I already know you think he looks stupid, Judgment Meter.
Oh, it's Mudball Man. Oh, Mudball Man. It reminds me of the poop balls that the bugs make. Poor Mudball Man. I think I like Mudball Man more than I like Clayman.
I think you secretly like Mudball Man the most because you talk about him so much.
It might be.
How about Mariner next? Avian and Bubble Man. He can attack directly, but only if you have at least one card set in the back row. Not a terrible restriction, but it's funny that they were afraid that the damage would be too much on a 1400 attack body that they put something there. Also, where did all these colors come from? Why is he blue? Did Bubble Man's armor dye his skin? Where did the red scarf come from? How did he get the gold?
Avian and Bubble Man. So he can fly and swim?
Well, he can definitely swim, I just don't know how he's flying.
Swims in a manner of flying.
Let's go with Plasma Vice next, Sparkman and Blade Edge. This one fixes my problem with Wild Edge, where even though it has the same attack value as Blade Edge, he keeps his piercing while gaining another effect, so you don't lose anything from Blade Edge. You discard a card, target an attack position monster, and destroy it. Honestly, I don't really think it belongs in the bad batch, but I don't quite think it's unique enough for the good list, so it's either here or an honorable mention segment. Welcome to here. Also, this design is sick.
Wow, his hands are huge. That must be really heavy.
Next is Necroid Shaman, Wildheart, and Necroshade. Destroy one of your opponent's monsters, and then you have to summon a monster from their graveyard to their side of the field. This is a fun effect since it's free destruction, and you get to force a weaker monster to be summoned if they have something worse in their graveyard. However, if they don't, I guess just summon the thing you just destroyed, but in defense mode? I guess it would have been better if you could just destroy and not do anything for the follow-up, but I suppose that's the restriction. Also, since his name ends in Roid, he counts as a Roid monster by accident.
Oh my god, Moroku has that! Moroku from Inuyasha, he has that.
The staff?
Yeah, he gets a thumbs up because he's Moroku.
You know, now that you mention it, he's kinda doing Moroku's wind tunnel pose.
No way! If you could just, in post, if you could put a little black circle on his hand, that would be awesome.
Now it's time for Dark Bright, Sparkman, and Necroshade. It has piercing, but that piercing effect might be too overpowered, so it has the restriction where if it attacks, it then has to go into defense mode, with only 1000 defense points. However, that might be a trick, since it also has the effect where when it's destroyed, you can destroy one of your opponent's monsters. Ha ha ha, now attack its weak defense. You might be destroyed too. And once again, sick design.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. Except the yellow is so bright, and then the rest of him is just so dark.
So what you're saying is he's Dark Bright.
You got me there. You got me there.
Steam Healer, being Bubble Man and Persinatrix. When it destroys a monster, you gain life points equal to that monster's attack. Only issue, it only has 1800 attack points. Sure, heroes can boost their attack with their support, but even so, life point burn is better than life point gain overall. I do like the theme of fire and water creating steam though.
Oh no, that's not good. Swipe.
How about a 3-fer, being Tempest, who's Avian, Sparkman, and Bubbleman. However, it's probably my least favorite effect so far. Send another card you control to the graveyard, target a monster, and that monster can't be destroyed while Tempest is around. Listen, destruction prevention is cool, but if I'm using 3 monsters to make this, I want something a bit flashier, or at least protection for all of my monsters, not just one. At least don't make me pay the cost. I don't know, I feel like this should be better.
Is that the bird guy and the electric guy?
And Bubbleman.
Why, Bubble Man?
They just said, okay, Bubbleman, you can go have fun with them too.
Aww. It looks like there's some weapon thing coming out of his crotchal area. I know it's just the angle, but still it's odd.
Finally, there's Electrum, using the 4 original heroes with the element attributes, fire, water, earth, and wind. His effect is, he counts as those attributes, and he gains 300 attack for each monster your opponent controls with his attribute. So that's 5 of the 6 attributes. Also, when he's summoned, he shuffles all banished cards back into the deck. This feels like it's a good effect, but it also felt wrong to leave him off this segment, so welcome here. Thanks for having a large butt in the anime.
Do we need the panties?
Well, without him, we don't know if his junk would be out.
They don't bring anything to the table.
Number 5. The anime Elemental Hero Neos fusions. For legacy factor and overall support, Elemental Hero Neos is probably going to be considered for the best hero list, along with some of his later fusions and forms, and because all of his fusions except a few carry the Elemental Hero label, he pads that Elemental Hero number since he has one with every Neospatian monster, and a few with multiple at the same time.
Aw, but he's stupid.
Oh, come on, it's an entry about Neos' fusions, not Neos himself, and why do you hate him so much? What did he do to you?
There's just so many muscles and I don't even find them attractive. There's just so many muscles in places that don't need to be muscles. Chat, how many people here think that Neos is hot?
But he has a very firm rear.
Okay, that is a pretty good butt. Is that a real butt? Is that real? Well, you know what? He may have the best hero butt. But that still doesn't make me like him.
The original concept was Neos can contact fuse when him and another Neospatian are on the field, as they fuse without needing polymerization, but the fusion is put back into the extra deck at the end of the turn. However, that trade-off could be bypassed with certain support, like their field spell. So, were these effects worth the restriction? Mostly no, and that's why they make the list. The process had too much of a downside, and by the time they got ways to bypass that downside and get the fusions out even faster, Neos had better fusions to do with them instead. The original fusions were basically amped up versions of the effects that the Neospatian monsters involved had, of which there were 6, one for each attribute. And these weren't really bad, once again it was the process that got them on this list. The 2 that I would say are really good are Grand Neos using Grand Mold, who can bounce an opponent's card back to hand, and Aqua Neos using Aqua Dolphin, which lets you discard a card to destroy a random card in your opponent's hand. And you can use Aqua Dolphin's upgraded form Marine Dolphin to create Marine Neos, where you get the hand destruction effect without a cost. As for the rest of the Elemental Hero Neospatian fusions that originated in the anime, well, let's go down another list of not too good fusions. Flare Neos uses Flare Scarab, gains 400 attack per spell and trap card on the field. Cool, but situational. Dark Neos uses Dark Panther. Target a monster, negate its effect while Dark Neos is out. Fine in concept, but only in an era when quick effects were less common. Glow Neos uses Glow Moss. Target a face-up card on the field, destroy it, and depending on what you targeted, you either can't attack if it was a monster or trap, or you can attack directly if it was a spell. Also the coolest design of these Neos, I'd say.
Ooh, does he have hair? Do I like this one? We should just have a video where we rank the Neoses.
We already have enough videos to do. And finally, Air Neos with Air Hummingbird, whose effect doesn't matter since Konami got sued for looking too much like the comic book character Ravidactyl and never reprinted it. But if you want to know, it can gain attack equal to the difference between you and your opponent's life points if your points were lower. And if you thought we were done there, oh no. Remember, Neos can fuse with 2 at a time, so we got Chaos Neos with Panther and Moss, and he has a random coin flip effect, where you flip 3 coins and you only get good effects if 2 of the 3 are heads, only 1 heads, and you return all of your cards to your hand. You invest so much in this guy and he might hurt you. I don't like this one. Then there's Magma Neos, Mole, and Scarab, who gains 400 attack per card on the field, which is fine, but kinda boring. And finally, again, there's Storm Neos, Hummingbird, and Dolphin, whose effect destroys all spells and traps on the field, which is pretty good in theory. It's a heavy storm effect, but it is a lot to invest for a heavy storm style effect. They also made Nebula Neos, Cosmo Neos, and an official elemental hero version of his Yubel fusion, but all after the anime, so just mentioning them here for the sake of completion.
Ooh, that's interesting. Why is there one fused with Yubel?
Cause he fused with Yubel in the anime, but it didn't count as a fusion, so they made it a fusion.
Is that why he's posing in such a erotic pose?
No, that's just how you perceive it. Finally, we'll top it off with elemental hero Divine Neos, who used all the Neospatians in the anime, but they made it somewhat easier in real life, where you just need any one Neospatian, any one Neos monster, any one hero monster, and then 2 more monsters that are any of those archetypes, so 5 monsters overall. Look how big he is! Look at all those stars! He must be great, right? I don't think so. Once per turn, he can banish a Neospatian hero or Neos monster from the graveyard, gain 500 attack, putting him to 3000, and he gains that banished monster's effect for the turn. Oh, I was hoping for something like a board wipe, but hey, he can get Flare Scarab's effect now. The issue here is, in the anime, it could banish as many as possible from the graveyard to gain 500 per banished, and then get all of the effects of the monster it banished, so basically it gets all 6 Neospatian effects, but the nerf here made it where it's just one small boost and maybe an okay effect depending on what's in your graveyard. Honestly, the investment versus result makes Divine Neos the most disappointing of the Neos fusions to me, so I guess he takes the top spot for this entry. Now, what did you— wait, we're not at the end of the video. Go to the next entry. Number 4, Elemental Hero Neo Bubbleman. So I was gonna cut some slack on this list to the original core 8 heroes from Jaden, since they did set up for the overall vibe of the heroes and helped make them so iconic in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Plus that fusion segment was our chance to riff on the original heroes, so the rest of them are safe today. However, that doesn't save Bubbleman's weird evolution, Neo Bubbleman. For whatever reason, they made it where you could only summon him with the spell Metamorphosis, which usually has the effect where you tribute a monster, and then you can special summon a fusion monster with the same level. Pretty broken where it got banned once fusions got better, but instead of getting out a fusion with a nice effect with this monster, if you use Metamorphosis on regular Bubbleman, you can special summon Neo Bubbleman instead, with the effect of, when he battles a monster, you can destroy it at the end of the damage step, which means Bubbleman is still destroyed if it battles a bigger monster, and you used your Metamorphosis for a single monster destruction with extra steps. As you could probably guess, there are so many better things you could be summoning with Metamorphosis. Thousand Eyes Restrict, Ryu Senshi, some other thing I can't think of right now because I'm improving this part. Also, as I mentioned, Metamorphosis was banned pretty early on, meaning Neo Bubbleman was completely unsummonable until many years later when a card came out that let you summon heroes from the deck ignoring their summoning conditions, which no one used for this Bubbleman unless they wanted to meme.
That's too much stuff. This isn't Fill Me With Joy.
You got nothing nice to say about his new costume?
No, I don't. I like Bubbleman the way he is. He's just a happy-go-lucky guy.
You got me there. I do love his big ol' grin. Bubble Illusion is peak Bubbleman art.
I like that one. That one fills me with joy.
I like how whenever Neo Bubbleman showed up in the anime, Jaden had the same strategy, where he equips him with the spell Bubble Blaster, which gives Bubbleman a small attack boost, a hit of battle protection, and you take no battle damage when it's equipped. So he attacks into a big monster, gets protected without taking damage, and then he gets the destruction effect while keeping Neo Bubbleman. Cute little trick in a scripted duel, but otherwise it's a combo that uses 2 unsearchable cards. Once again though, he has an evil hero counterpart Toxic Bubble that gives us a better version of him, letting him live on with a better purpose. Also sick art. Number 3, Elemental Hero Flash. Flash is one of those monsters where the effect was situational but cool in the manga, but when he got printed, they nerfed the already slow effect to pretty much be unusable. The manga had it where when he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can banish it and add a spell or trap from your graveyard back to your hand. So basically, it's Magician of Faith with different and extra steps. Getting a single card back from the graveyard that needs Besides, the battle phase is not really that good of an effect to me, at least based on when this came out. It was slow once Magician of Faith was power crept, and it was slow when this card came out in 2011. It needing to banish itself is actually so it could have synergy with one of the bosses, Elemental Hero the Shining, which gains attack based on your banished heroes, so it's not just some random restriction on Flash. However, when it got printed in real life, they made it where it still had to banish itself to activate the effect, but you also had to banish 3 other elemental heroes from your graveyard too, and you could only recover a normal spell from the graveyard, not just any spell or trap. Quick correction to that, it only needed to be destroyed in the manga, not banish itself to activate the effect. That was only in the Viz English translation of the manga, which I was looking at, so that was a mistake. Good idea by them, but not accurate. Once again, banishing more heroes was meant to give you a bigger payoff with cards that benefit from the banishment, like the Shining, and there's a lot of good normal spells out there that you would like to get back from the graveyard, so the nerf from it being any spell or trap did seem reasonable, but I feel like this was a harder effect to activate now. Sure, heroes fuse a lot where they could have a nice bank of monsters in the graveyard, but if you only have 2 in the graveyard, this effect is null and void. Plenty of cards need to banish a lot from the graveyard to activate, but just to add a normal spell back from the graveyard only, it feels too situational. At least let me search from the deck too if I'm investing that much. Perhaps I'm being too harsh, but as consolation, I love his pose here. The manga pose is still great with the more typical hero pose, but with this card, it looks like he's about to do an explosive wave, or he's the Terminator, or probably another reference I'm not picking up on.
He has very broad shoulders.
Those aren't his shoulders, it's just part of the costume, but keep going with your headcanon.
And he loves long walks on the beach. And he's ready to take you out.
Anything else?
That's it.
Number 2, Elemental Hero Ice Edge. Ice Edge was a manga card first, where its effect was, it's unaffected by the effects of level 4 or higher monsters, and it can't be destroyed in battle by them. It's an alright effect. It has 800 attack, 900 defense, so it's probably not surviving against many low-level monsters either, but your opponent is generally going for something moderately strong, so it could surprisingly stick around. However, its manga effect doesn't matter, since its real-life effect is completely different. When this monster inflicts battle damage via direct attack only, you can target a set card in the back row and destroy it. Okay, so it's already bad back row destruction that relies on battle damage, but they made it where it only works on set cards that were somehow not flipped already. If they were battle traps, your opponent would likely be using them, or they don't really view them as a threat. And if they're not battle traps or negates or cards your opponent can just freely play, then maybe you got lucky working around the set cards effect. Still, only set cards. Let the man destroy a continuous trap or a field spell. Now to put him in a situation where he can attack directly, that's pretty easy. He has another effect. You can discard a card and he can attack directly for the turn, meaning to ultimately get that bad back row destruction, it costs you 1 card. I feel there's a reason this effect is so specific and different from the manga effect, but I never looked into it. I just didn't care enough.
Aw, he's so cute. Is he a little man?
Indeed he is.
He's a little man. He's a little spiky man. But he's ready to do the work of a big man. Big spiky man.
Actually, he does have a big man form.
No way!
The good thing about Ice Edge is in the manga, he fuses with Elemental Hero Ocean to create Elemental Hero Absolute Zero, one of the best elemental heroes who will surely be on the good hero list. So in the end, my favorite thing about him is the lore. He's the weaker or chibi version of Absolute Zero, you can tell in the design. He may be bad now, but just wait until he fuses, then you'll be sorry. But for now, well, you'll be sorry if you play back row that can't be flipped. For number 1, there's likely going to be a disagreement, not because one of us thinks this card is secretly good, but because Judgment Meter will think it's cute and not care about its terrible effect. Number 1, Elemental Hero Nospe. Can Nospe? I've never had to say this word. It means bud in German. First off, I love how Nospe does not match the hero aesthetic at all, unless it's supposed to be one of those animal or creature sidekicks on a team like we see in some comics or Sentai. It was used by Jaden in the manga, where it had the effect of, when it inflicts damage to the opponent, its attack goes up by 100, but its defense falls by 100. Its stats are 600 attack, 1000 defense. That is such a minor boost with a drawback on such a small body. When printed in real life, it has the same attack boost effect, effect, but they added an effect where you can attack directly if you control another elemental hero, and your opponent cannot target it for an attack. So it has the potential to stick on the field to keep on doing the effect, but like, what are you using this for? I have no idea how the attack raise will eventually benefit you.
I don't know how it's a hero, but I love that it's here. It's so mad. Does its little necklace give it its power?
You know, you're probably the first person to ask that. It's worth noting that it's a plant instead of a warrior, similar to Heat, but plants actually have really good general support, so if there's a madman out there playing a hero plant deck, show me your list. However, Nospe has one other thing that's always annoyed me. It has an upgraded form, Elemental Hero Poison Rose, and you can only summon it with the spell Rosebud, which has the specific effect that it can tribute Nospe to special summon Poison Rose from the hand or deck. That's it. This Poison Rose must be good, right? You already know what I'm gonna say. This monster has 1900 attack, 2000 defense, and the effect is doubled. Now she gains 200 attack and loses 200 defense when she inflicts damage. Oh my god, she's terrible. And she has another effect where she can be the only attack target for your opponent, which might work out, but it could also just be a faster death for her since her attack is still low. So overall, this attack boost is slow and bad, and you need an unsearchable spell to summon her and a specific monster on the field to activate that spell, and she's a brick in your deck otherwise. There's no benefit to playing her. This was a thing old cards did where their boss versions needed a specific spell or trap card to be summoned, like Released Restraint to turn Gearfried the Iron Knight into Gearfried the Sword Master, but at least Gearfried had a destruction effect. This lady just gets slightly larger. That being said, as with some of the other entries, at least the lore is cool. She's a plant creature, but when she blooms, she basically digivolves and turns into a human woman with a plant theme.
Ooh, pretty lady. Wow. The angry plant grew up into such a nice lady with big boobs.
She's looking at the uncensored art. Also, Judgment Meter has something to say about Rosebud.
Oh, is that the even babier form?
I think it's supposed to be Nospe blooming, but go with your own headcanon.
Aww, it's a family.
So to quote you, oh my god, she's a single mother!
Oh my god, she's a single mother!
Why did I say that?
It was on her cactus character list. You said that about Poison Ivy and her cactus children.
She's a single mother. She lives in the forest, amongst the trees.
At the very least, she should be retrained so they can use this design again. She was in the manga, so they have plenty of poses to choose from for new art. But when it comes to the effect in both of her forms, it can't hold up. So for having a horrible summoning method, effect, and searchability, Nospe and Poison Rose are at the top of the bottom for the elemental heroes. Now, what did you think? Were all these heroes on the wrong end of playability, or was Judgment Meter's hatred of them a bit too harsh? And what are some of your favorite bad heroes in Yu-Gi-Oh, whether we discussed them or not? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.